Hey, Tuesday, November 29th. We get into our Shadow Club for today. Let's see. The tie game, once again, Christmas will not be an answer all month. More specific. Can I show my tie on here? Good enough. And let's see. Book report is due 2 weeks from tomorrow. If you're wanting to turn it in early, you have until next Friday. You can download the digital version of the Shadow Club. If you were here today, I gave you a paper copy of it. It looks like this. And you get your own fancy copy. Thank you much. You also get an ebook version, which is on my website, so in case you lose yours or forget it, you can grab it from there. We're now going to begin the Shadow Club. What I'm going to have you do with the highlighter that you have is, as we go through, anytime you find a description of a character or a part of the book that connects to your life in some way, I'm going to have you mark it. It's going to make your homework easier, because one of the main homework option you're going to have on this one is making connections between the characters and yourself, or people who are in your life. So if they talk about like the annoying younger brother, and you're like, I hate my younger brother, then you would mark that section, and then that way you can connect it to who you are. I marked parts in my book, so as I go through there, I will tell you my connections I have made, and then I'm going to eventually get a chance to stop and let you guys tell me your connections that you have. The book does not have chapter numbers. It just has chapter titles. So it's sort of like the one we're doing with you guys there, where I can't tell you what chapter number it is. These just go off of, like, they have a little title for each one. And we're going to begin with the prologue. Do you guys know what a prologue is?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's prologue? Yeah?
It tells you what they're going to be telling you about.
Yeah, not bad. It basically breaks down, prologue breaks down into the two roots, pro meaning before and log meaning talk. So the prologue means before the book starts, it's the before we begin talky stuff. So it's like a little introduction-y kind of thing. And it starts on page 3. So there you go. Look at that. First 2 pages already done. You're welcome. Prologue. I suppose you want to know all about us, don't you? All the nasty, horrible details about the vicious things we did. How we planned the accidents. How we plotted against everyone who got in our way. That's what you want to hear, isn't it? Well, it wasn't like that. I mean, not to us anyway. Not at first. Things just got carried away, that's all. We were all good kids. I mean, really good kids. Not a single kid in the Shadow Club had ever done anything bad, and there wasn't a single delinquent in the bunch. Well, not at first. Do you guys know what a delinquent is?
Someone who does something stupid.
Nice. Well, a delinquent's a kid or a person that does something stupid, gets in jail, gets in trouble, and stuff like that. I circled the part where it says really good kids, because that was me. When I was in school, I was that dorky, really good kid. Now I did delinquent, because that describes myself now. I still don't know how it all happened. We just lost control, you know? Too many bad feelings have a way of spinning together into one killer tornado. And none of us in the Shadow Club knew how to stop it. Or for that matter, where it was going. I haven't told anyone the whole story yet. I don't like to talk about it because it scares me. I get nightmares. When I was little, I got nightmares about werewolves or dumb things like that. Now, I get nightmares about myself. And since it happened, I've been catching other kids looking at me funny. Like, I'm a different person now. Like, I'm that monster I dream about. But it's not true, and I don't know how to prove it, and that I'm still me. I'm just a whole lot smarter now, that's all. Like I said, I haven't told anyone, but I can't keep it in anymore. If I do, I'll go crazy. So, listen closely. I'll tell you all there is to know about the Shadow Club. But you have to promise you won't hate me when I'm done. I'll begin long before any of the bad stuff happened. Before I spied on Tyson McGaw. Even before the first meeting. Way back when that tornado wasn't even a breeze. Just a bunch of thoughts kept secretly in the back of our minds. Thoughts we were sure no one else could understand. It all started on that day in the graveyard. Chapter, Stupid Talk. It was the strangest place for anyone to have a wedding. And whoever came up with the idea of having weddings there must have had a very sick mind. This town has to be the only town in the history of the world that has weddings in a cemetery. Anyway, it was the first day of September. We all stood there in the rose garden at the very edge of Shady Bluff Memorial Park, sipping punch from tiny cups and stuffing our faces with little cheese hors d'oeuvres. waiting for the wedding to start. Cheryl's mom was getting married. Cheryl had been nervously chewing the lip of her cup until there was none of it left, and checking to see if her hair was still in place. She had good reason to be nervous, since it was her mother's wedding, and she was about to have a new father, but that wasn't the only reason she was nervous. I just know they're going to ask me to sing, Cheryl mumbled under her breath. Huh? Said Randall, her younger brother. Sing? They're going to ask me to sing. Don't be dumb. People don't sing in cemeteries, which was a good point. No, I mean later, at the house, during the party, they always ask me to sing. Randall rolled his eyeballs so far back you can almost hear them turning in his head. I marked that one because I now have a daughter who does that. I had marked that before. Hang on. Because she didn't used to roll her eyes, but now that she's in 6th grade, it happens all the time. Like when? Cheryl thought for a moment, then a smirk spread over her face. Like at your birthday party? She looked at me, but I knew better than to stick my nose in this one. My nose had been whacked too many times, being where it never should have been in the first place. This was their argument. Yeah, well, guess what? I got news for you. Nobody asked you. You just got up there and sang anyway, all on your lonesome. That's not true. Somebody asked me. Who? I don't remember who. It doesn't matter. The point is, I was asked. As I recall, everyone clapped. They clapped because I blew out the candles. Well, that too. But they liked the way I led Happy Birthday. I kept them all in tune. You were louder than everyone else, you mean. And you didn't have to stand on a chair. That was embarrassing. Someone has to lead, demanded Cheryl. It's like the national anthem at a ball game. Someone has to lead it, or everyone sings at the wrong time, out of tune, and it sounds lousy. I did mark that one, because that's my younger daughter. Whenever we do Happy Birthday, she does it on purpose, and she sings out of tune. She's just a special child. It was about this time that I forced my ears closed and tuned the two of them out. True, Cheryl and Randall were my friends, but there's only so much stupid talk a human brain can listen to. And when Cheryl and Randall got started, they could stupid talk each other till their mouths wore out. I turned off my brain whenever my parents did it, and I turned off my brain whenever my friends did it. Last one, real quick. I did underline stupid talk, and that's for me every time kids talk to me. I was closer friends with Cheryl than I was with Randall. In fact, you could say that Cheryl was my best friend. She'd been my best friend all of my life, or as far back as I can remember. Back to the days when it was all right for little boys to play with little girls because we didn't really know the difference. And through the time when everyone would make fun of us because boys were supposed to do boys things with boys and girls were supposed to do girls things with girls. Now, no one much bothered us because at 14, everyone has more sense. Besides, people envied us because everyone was so sure we were a lot more than we really were, if you know what I mean. Other kids always think that kind of thing if you're friends with a girl. Because what is it people think? That they're dating. Kids. Anyway, neither Cheryl nor Randall knew when to shut up or when to give up, since they were always so convinced that they were right. They argued like lawyers, which is something they both got from their mother, who is a lawyer. This time, however, I knew for a fact that Randall was right. No one had asked Cheryl to sing at that party. The only person that was asked to sing was Cheryl's cousin Rebecca, and luckily, Cheryl was out back when it happened, or else she would have been in an evil mood for the rest of the day. Cheryl hated Rebecca, about as much as I hated Austin Pace, but I'll leave that for later. You just watch, said Cheryl. Mom will come over to me and ask me to sing when she and Paul have their first dance. I'll bet you. Cheer on, said Randall. I'd bet you money, but I wouldn't want to make you feel too bad. Fine. It's settled then, I said, just to shut them up. The winner gets no money, but will get to hang their victory over the other person's head for the rest of their life. All right? Fine. Fine. Good. Now, both of you, shut up. Looks like it's going to start. In a few minutes, Randall and Cheryl left to join the bridal party, which would come down the aisle along with the bride. My parents found me, and we went to sit in the rows of chairs by the little vine-covered gazebo in which the wedding would take place. The air was still warm that day, as if it had forgotten autumn was coming pretty soon. But the trees remembered. You could tell that they were just about ready to start turning colors. It was a nice day for a wedding. Cheryl came down the aisle with the rest of the bridesmaids. And I knew she hated all that makeup and hairspray, but I have to admit, I'd never seen her look so beautiful. Even more beautiful than her mother did in her wedding dress. Of course, I couldn't tell Cheryl that. She tended to punch people who told her she was beautiful. As the ceremony went on, I saw Cheryl's cousin Rebecca on the other side of the aisle. She sat there like a little princess, all 4 feet of her, pretending to be the cutest thing on earth, like she was taking Shirley Temple lessons or something. Even just sitting, you could sense that air about her, like she was the one in Cheryl's family that everyone adored, and she knew it. I could see why Cheryl resented her. Who wouldn't? All that pretend sweetness all rolled up into one tiny body. What made it even more irksome for Cheryl was that next week, Rebecca would make her grand entrance into our junior high and would, as always, set out to top anything Cheryl had ever done. You guys know who Shirley Temple is when they say Shirley Temple lessons?
Yeah.
I know the Sprite and Band.
True. That would be the Shirley Temple drink. Shirley Temple was the very first real child actor from back in like the 1920s. She was like this adorable little floppy-haired child. She's singing the song "Animal Crackers in My Soup." Animal crackers in my soup. And then she also did the lollipop, something lollipop. Anyway, she was an adorable little childy thing. The problem is when you start off as an adorable child, time catches up with you. And it can be a little on the painful side. But that's what the little girl's pretending to be, is like little Shirley Temple. Well, the wedding went fine, and so did the first half of the party back in Cheryl's backyard. It was when the band started its second set, things started to change. It seemed that Cheryl was having such a great time dancing and jabbering at anyone who had an ear that she forgot all about her little bet with Randall back in the old graveyard rose garden. It could have gone forgotten, and no one, not even Randall, would have cared, but something happened. Cheryl and I were dancing quite a lot, since we both liked to dance, and were tiring ourselves out when the lead singer ended the song and began talking. "How are we doing out there?" A few people mumbled, "Good, good, good." "Great," said the lead singer. "Now we have a very special request. I understand there's a young lady here who's quite a singer." "I knew it," said Cheryl, as she cleared her throat half a dozen times. "And we have a very special request from the bride for her to come up here and give us a song." Cheryl cracked her knuckles, which made me wince, and cleared her throat again. Randall, from across the yard, caught her gaze, amazed that his sister was actually going to win. "So maybe if we give her a great big hand, she'll come on up and sing for us." Cheryl bit her lip and leaned forward, sure that the eyes of the whole world were looking at her. The singer put on a big smile. "Let's hear it for Rebecca!" Cheryl took one step forward, and then it hit her. You could almost hear her jaw drop open. People began to applaud, and Randall began to laugh. Then he turned to Cheryl, scratched his head, and gave her his best monkey impersonation. Cheryl ignored him and turned to me. For a split second, she had that look in her eye that you only see in movies about people possessed by the devil. But the look faded. She sighed and said, "Well, that just figures, doesn't it?" The devil look in the eye, I put underlined that one because that goes to me. "You should go up there and sing with her." "Nope, I wasn't asked. Darned if I'm going to make a fool of myself like she's going to." Rebecca stepped onto the patio where the band was. She was all of 12, but looked more like she was 9, even younger with the cutesy dress she was wearing. Shirley Temple lessons. The band began to play the requested song, and Rebecca began to pretend she was a rock star. Personally, I thought that Cheryl sang a little bit better, but what do I know? Needless to say, Cheryl and I didn't dance. We sat down at a table, and I could feel all the food and dancing already taking its toll on my stomach. Or maybe it was just the song. You know, the second best never get any credit, not even from their parents. "You're not second best," I offered. "I am. They're right. She does sing better than me." Cheryl played with a fork on somebody else's dessert plate that had been left there when somebody else had gotten up to dance. You know what really ticks me off? singing is the thing I do best. I mean, if there was anything else I could really do well, it wouldn't be so bad, but I can't. All I can really do is sing, you know? She tapped the icing-covered fork a few times, and then a smile appeared on her face. I wish we were back in the cemetery. Why? Because if we were, sweet little Becky would never make it out of there alive. And then she laughed that sinister laugh reserved for mad scientists. Aw, you wouldn't hurt her and you know it. Yeah, but I can have lots of fun pretending, can't I? She put down the fork and thought for a moment. Let's see, what could we do? We could wire her braces shut so she couldn't sing, only hum. Pretty good. How about putting hydrochloric acid in her punch? No. Well, we'll get an enormous cork, cover it with super glue, drop it in her barrel on Halloween when it's her turn to bob for apples. Okay, wait. We scare her so much that she screams so loud she could never sing again. No mess, no evidence. What genius! What genius! How about we send her in for a tonsillectomy, but we write on her chart to remove her vocal cords instead. You're sick, Cheryl. Look who's talking, Jared. We both laughed for a while and looked over at little Miss Goldenthroat holding the microphone like she was born with it in her hands. And we laughed some more. Don't you ever imagine doing nasty things to people that really tick you off like that? That was a question I didn't have to think about. Like every day. And I'll bet I know just who it is. She giggled. She knew who, all right. It didn't take much thinking to figure it out. It was Austin Pace. My very good friend, Austin Pace. My buddy. My teammate. My pal. It's kind of a weird feeling to hate a friend. You don't know whether to go and have fun together or punch him out. Not that I would ever punch Austin out. It's just that sometimes you like to think about it, that's all. Kind of like throwing darts at someone's picture. The song ended, everyone applauded. Then the lead singer got on the microphone again and said, "Let's hear it for Rebecca!" The applause got louder. Cheryl grimaced. "You want to hear another one?" asked the lead singer. Cheryl looked at me with that "please God, no" expression on her face, but the applause got louder. Rebecca mumbled something to the band. They nodded and started up again. Another big dance number. Rebecca began to dance around again and strut across the stage, all proud. And then Cheryl and I watched some old relative toss flowers at Rebecca from the floral centerpiece on the tables, and she put one behind her ear. "I think I'm going to be sick," said Cheryl, as we watched a scene that was beginning to resemble a freak show. Pause. Out of curiosity, spots or things that you found that you can connect to people, if you don't mind ratting people out. Kylie?
Well, when it said she screams really loud, I scream really loud sometimes.
So you mark that for yourself.
Yeah.
Well done. Liam?
When they say wire her braces shut so they couldn't sing, I sometimes like to do that to make people be quiet.
I can imagine that'd be a good dream. Berber?
People on my dad's side of the family adore me just because I'm my dad's son.
That works.
They adore me because
Yeah.
I'm my dad's son.
Goose?
I say pork on somebody else's dessert, like my sister does that all the time.
Eats other people's desserts?
Yeah.
What a hungry little child. Then we'll jump to chapter 2, or chapter Austin Pace, I think it's 2. In our town, high school does not start in 9th grade. 100 years ago, some founding father decided that 7th through 9th grades belonged in junior high, and no one's ever bothered to change it since. It was the first day of the last year of junior high, and Austin was already at it. He was even early that morning. Oh. There, we'll stop. Tomorrow, make sure you bring the book back and a highlighter if you did not bring it today. Then we'll keep going from there.